Hello. I'm going to try and do the advent of code on the Acorn Electron. So this is just an experiment. I don't really know how to do streaming, so I don't know if this will work. I'll just find out by trying it. So just to explain what that is, the Acorn Electron is a microcomputer from 1984. So it's about the same age as me. It has a 6502 8-bit microprocessor and only 32 kilobytes of memory, so obviously it's very limited, and it's not like a modern computer. And the advent of code is a programming challenge that normally runs throughout December, and every day there's a new challenge. Okay, so obviously it's not December now, so for this experiment I'm going to do one of the challenges from last year. I'm just going to do the first one. So normally the challenges that you're meant to, you can write them in any programming language, and all of the challenges, they usually just end up with like a number as a result, and you can type it into the website to find out if you had the right answer or not. So normally they're designed to be developed on in a modern programming language on a modern computer. I mean, they don't normally need a huge amount of processing power. Oh, it says there's an error. Oh well. Okay, not sure how far I can get on the Acorn Electron. I think I'm probably going to, if I continue this, I'm going to have to end up picking and choosing which challenges I do, because a lot of them will just need too much memory or too much time. So I'm running this electron. It's not a real electron. I'm running it through an emulator. So I can cheat a little bit and use some emulator magic, but I try to be reasonable and just do what would technically be possible on a real electron. Okay, so stop this. Okay, so the electron has BBC Basic. So if you know the BBC Micro, the Acorn Electron is the baby brother of the BBC Micro, and it has the same basic, but it has less hardware, so it's cheaper. Okay, so the challenge that I'm going to do is just day one from 2019. It's relatively easy, so I won't read the whole thing because there's quite a lot of story behind it. It's about Santa and delivering the elves. But the gist of the challenge is that you have to try and work out how much fuel is required to launch the ship or something. And okay, so the fuel required is based on the mass. So I can paste in this paragraph, I think, from the challenge. So to work out the fuel required, given the mass, we just need to divide the mass by 3, round it down, and subtract by 2. Okay, so we can just implement this basic idea with a procedure. So I can remember how to do this. So I'm not really an expert on BBC Basic at all, so it's going to be hilarious. Okay, so we can make a procedure to calculate the fuel. Let's call it fuel for mass. So it's really simple. Just divide the mass by 3. We want integer arithmetic so that it rounds down, and then subtract 2. Okay, I think we might be able to test this function by just calling it. So there's an example, it says using 14. That doesn't work. Okay, well, let's just try it by putting in the program. So these numbers are, I don't know if in case, well, there's no one watching, but if anyone was watching and they weren't familiar with BBC Basic, or just Basic in general, you have to type line numbers before each line of the code, and that gives you a way to do the control flow in the programming language, and also as a way to like edit the code. So like now I'm typing, I had the numbers 10 and 20, so now I'm adding line 5, which will go before line 10. I'm going to put this bit of code that I just tried into the program, and then do end so the program will stop. Okay, so it doesn't like my procedure. It's because it's mixing up procedures and functions maybe, so I think it's supposed to be a function. Right. So start that again. So I'm redefining the line 5. I can also redefine line 10 as meant to do a function. So I'm pressing the copy button there to not have to type the line out again. So you can list the program we've got now. Run that if I can remember how to type. 2. Okay, so that's right. So in the example on the page, just pasting that in. So it's 2. Okay, that's great. So in the actual challenge is you have a really long list of numbers. There's I know from experience that there's 100 of them, and then you have to get the total fuel required for all of those masses. So the bit that makes this complicated on the Electron is mainly just getting that data in. So I guess I could just paste it. So I could make the program just so I delete those test lines that I had, line 5 and 6, and then I could just make a loop that calculates, that just asks for. So I'm going to move that. I'm going to edit my source code to make some spaces to add some lines before line 10. So I'm going to use renumber and start from 1000. So now the program starts at line 1000. So now if I can start adding lines at line 10 again, and I'm just going to make a loop that asks for 100 numbers, and calculates the fuel needed for each of those numbers. So I'm going to have a variable for the total fuel. So at each first I'm going to ask for the mass at each step, and then I can just calculate the fuel from that mass as I go and add that to the total fuel needed. So we have the original sum. So the new sum of fuel needed is the original sum plus the fuel for the mass that we just inputted. Okay. So that's I've used the wrong function there. I'll explain that in a minute. So once we've got the sum, we can just print it out. Total fuel needed is, and then stop the program. Okay, so I've already forgotten how to do basic, so this line 20 is not right. Read, I want to input. I think you can just input an integer like that. Let's try it. Oops. Yes, okay, cool. Okay, so let's look at the whole program again. Oh, I need to, so I'm calculating the sum, adding to the sum at each step, but I forgot to initialize the variable, so I can add a new line before the program, oops, case sensitive, to initialize the sum to 0. Okay, and then, so I can run the program. It's just going to ask for the maths at each step. So with the magic, emulator magic, I can just paste that in. I suppose if you were on a real Electron, you could just type them in. I don't know, unless because you can't go to the website to download the data. But okay, let's pretend that I'm typing them all in, but I'm just going to use the paste magic from the emulator. So I'll just wait. I can actually make this go faster with emulator magic as well. Okay. So so maybe that would have taken an hour on a real Electron to type in, but with emulator magic, we've got the answer already. So the total fuel needed 3337,604. So normally I can type it into the website to see if I got the right answer, but so I've already done most of the challenges from 2019, so I already know. It's already telling me the answer, and at the bottom of my page it's saying puzzle answer. I've just pasted that in, so that's correct. So yeah, the program is really simple. Not surprising that it worked. Okay, so I've no idea if the live streaming worked, so I'm going to stop it and then look at it. But then maybe later I'll try and do part 2. And yeah, if this works, I guess I might try and do more challenges and then try and announce the time beforehand, or yeah, because I don't think anybody's watching, so that will be, yeah, if I try and announce it and try and get people interested and see what happens. Okay,